Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach. I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And in this particular series of videos, it's all about internal validity with research design. And this is something that's really important, and it's becoming much more important with all of the stuff that you study, particularly in the social sciences, because it's really difficult sometimes to understand what sort of studies are really valid versus ones that have potential threats to validity. So I've got a whole big series of videos. I put out a bunch of them all about these different threats to internal validity. I'm going to link to them below. You can actually go to the playlist and look at all of the different videos on threats to internal validity. And, there's different things, different sort of threats to internal validity that are quite important. And a lot of this actually comes from, there's a couple of books, Cook and Campbell, and it's really based on the sort of series there. If you go look them up, so it's Cook and Campbell. The other one is, it's the Scandish, Cook and Campbell, and those folks, they have a book. It's all about experimentation and quasi-experimentation. There's also a really good one by Glass as well. You can take a look at those. But really what all of this is all about, all of these threats to internal validity, the whole story behind it is trying to figure out a better way to actually come up with and understand the world around us with different research designs. We as different researchers, maybe you're in university and you're an undergraduate student, maybe you're a graduate student, maybe you're somebody that is interested, maybe you're an internet marketer, for example, and you're really interested in how to do different forms of experimentation. Well, we've thought about this stuff for a very, very long time in academia of what exactly experiments are, as well as how do you actually deal with them. And, other different things like, what happens if you can't quite get to a sort of experimental condition? How do you actually deal with that? And if that's the case, if you have sort of a study and you can't sort of tap into things that are not quite experimental, or it's really difficult to do. So for example, right, you have something that's really risky and dangerous. Well, you don't want to give people that thing that's risky and dangerous. Well, you can actually look at sort of different things around you, different scenarios, and look at secondary data. And when you look at that secondary data, sometimes you can find different patterns in the way that you sort of arrange the secondary data or think about the secondary data allows you to get things that kind of get closer at experiments. And that's really what a quasi-experiment is. But a lot of times there are different threats to validity. And this is really just thinking about, what are the possibilities? What are the moments and when an experimental design actually becomes not as good as we would like it, right? And there's every experiment that you ever do, any particular study that you ever do always has limitations and flaws. And we are just sort of rationally going through all the videos that I put out are just kind of rationally going through and explaining what that is and how you might actually deal with those particular situations from the perspective of somebody that wants to do better research. If you are, so for example, an internet marketer and you're really careful and interested in doing this kind of stuff, you could definitely go through and look at some of those videos, as well as graduate students. I don't know who's going to watch this stuff, but, I'm just putting it out there and trying to be as helpful as possible at this moment. And really, this is close to, or what this is getting at is my reciprocity platform that I'm trying to do, and a big chunk of it is actually about the sort of reciprocity platform. The E is spelled with a 3. You could take a look at it. It's really just a platform where I'm trying to build, where I believe that anybody should be able to get feedback and as well as get their work double checked in a relatively easy way. So there's that particular component. You can take a look at how it's sort of structured and stuff. It's kind of a peer proofreading or a sharing economy proofreading platform, but as well is, it's a mechanism to understand the world for behavioral scientists, to get much better insight into the world by designing this particular platform. And really what I'm going to do in the background, once there's enough people working at it and whatnot, I would actually like to start doing A/B experiments, which is really well used within the software industry. In fact, it's something that I actually makes me a little bit nervous in the sense that it's so lax in the software industry. There's not nearly as much as the sort of ethical concerns. And I encourage you to look at some of the videos I put out about sort of the ethics and experimentation that goes on right now. And it's something that you should be thinking about. But obviously, all of the stuff that I'm going to be putting onto this platform is all going to be vetted in terms of any of the sort of experimental stuff. It has to be vetted by a university of anybody that's sort of interested in doing that and doing sort of experimental stuff. And by the way, if you are a researcher and you'd like to give me a shout, feel free to contact me. And I'd be happy to, chit chat about whatever. But that's it. You feel free to leave comments, as well as I appreciate all the time that you watch these videos. Hopefully you find them useful. Give me a thumbs up if you do. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be putting out videos. I think I'm going to start doing things about statistical conclusion validity in the next series. This is going to be really fun. So looking forward to it. Take care. Bye.